Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. We're live with Game 2 of Vici Gaming versus Invictus Gaming. It's all a part of the Dota 2 Super League, brought to you by Perfect World and us here at Beyond the Summit for the English broadcast. It's a 1 million RMB event, the biggest Dota 2 event outside of the International 2013, which just got done breaking 2 million a few days ago. It's now time to work towards Techies, or that one hero of the community's choice, which we all know is going to be Techies. I wouldn't mind Ember Spirit, but that's neither here nor there. Well, we're going to have Game 2 coming up next with IG leading the best of 3 1-0. I'm LD, and I'm joined here by my main man, Lumi. Lumi, how you doing?
You say Techies, but or Baden. I mean, no love for that guy?
Come on, that hero's so boring.
Dude, he's competitively viable with a Phonic Shield. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care if he's viable. He's boring. The concept is boring. He's a hero that doesn't die. Heroes that kill shit are fun. Heroes that don't die are boring.
Look at Tree Protector. He is so good. He makes the whole team don't die.
Again, another hero that might be a good hero. In fact, I mean, if you look at Lloyd Didi's playing him, he might be a great hero, but boring. Techies?
No, I'm not with you with the Techies.
Techies throws his body away to kill others, and then he also makes you sad with mines. That's the definition of a great hero, but that's neither here nor there. This is Game 2 of Invictus Gaming versus Vici Gaming. And Lumi, they're going to ban the Wisp again. Now, I will say, Vici Gaming has used Wisp in the past as a pocket strat and caught some good teams by surprise with CK Wisp. So, I'm not too surprised IG are banning it. The other thing is, IG love to dive and love to kill. And Wisp is a hero that, if you don't completely win the lanes, can punish that kind of style early. So I think, all things considered, it's a very smart ban for them.
Yeah, I also was tuning into the Chinese stream and listening to what 2009 and I guess 820. I'm not too sure what the other Chinese analyst was saying, but they were really talking about how Vici Gaming really didn't look like they were in their comfort zone. And that's going to be a big deal in terms of Game 2, getting into that comfort zone. CTY had an okay game. He was able to keep up in terms of farm and all, but he wasn't able to snowball. And that's kind of something that we were kind of talking about. They need to run out of gates, storm out of gates, and get something going. You can't just trade farm back and forth. It's not going to work out for you. And that's what the Chinese commentators were going back and forth on about. And, well, I kind of agree with it. Game 2, though, they have some intense gankers. And they're going to have to funnel some of their offense here to try to get themselves a little bit early ahead.
Yeah, they'll pick up a Batrider and a Nyx Assassin, so the opportunity to find kills will certainly be there in spades. But right now, IG, with a very dangerous potential to go 5-man Dota. Gyro picked up right away, a hero that, frankly, he has seen play in the Asian scene. He's become more popular, but to see him picked up as your first pick from IG, that's something I didn't quite expect. And I think it shows you IG is confident enough to experiment in these games and also to throw a bunch of different hero compositions your way. They won't go for the same stuff every game. We saw a Silencer last game, we'll see a Gyro this game, and who knows what they'll take the rest of the way. Vici Gaming to get some strong heroes, but it's like you said, CTY does need to snowball. Either him or potentially someone like XTT playing that other solo role. One of these two has to get off to a fast start. Be it the Batrider, be it a solo mid Nyx, or be it whatever other solo mid they might pick up for CTY. Can they find a matchup where they'll be able to snowball? That's tough, because they got to snowball against 430 or YYF, two of the very best players in the business, or even Joe if he's playing that other solo role. And frankly, IG has picked heroes that are kind of cock blocks between cogs with the literal cog block and then Gyro, a hero that you don't really want to dive or take too many aggressive fights against. So it'll be tough for Vici Gaming to find those openings.
You say a snowballing. I'm not too sure whether one person snowballing is enough. Last game, we saw Batrider had a decent time Blink Dagger. It was actually quite early. He found a couple of kills immediately with the Blink Dagger. I could call it quote-unquote snowballing from a Batrider. It was a decent performance. You just need a couple of people to have decent performance. You just can't have, all right, we have a quick blink on Bat, let's win the game. It's not going to happen that way because I actually know how to shut down a single person that's starting to quote-unquote get a little bit out of control. So we'll see how it goes. Vici Gaming, though, have some of these most dominant early game heroes. Batrider, Nyx Assassin, Leshrac. You get a couple kills early with Leshrac, you get a tower. You get a Blink Dagger early, that's going to get you more towers. So I feel like Vici Gaming have the necessarily tools to do it. But again, the cogs, they are so damn annoying. 200 mana burn.
It's the cogs. It's always the cogs. You're right. It's annoying, and it's just very hard to take a good fight. I mean, we've seen so many great Magnus players struggle to find RP against Cogs. It's hard if you're any sort of initiator to jump in. Batrider jumps in, gets bounced back, and then his initiation is over oftentimes. So it's a frustrating hero to play against, and I'm also curious how they're going to use it for IJ. I imagine it will be one of the solos. We've seen VG take it mid with CTY. Maybe 430 takes it there. Could be that solo for, say, Zhou. Well, probably not Zhou, but maybe something like YYF, or maybe they tri-lane it, put YYF on it. We've seen LGD International do that in the past, and I think Clockwork is viable in the tri-lane if you get something like a Rubik or a Shadow Demon. And what do you know? It's IG. They have Chuan, who was the MVP in Game 1, by the way, and played really well, as well as cast a bunch of kills, and he'll get the Rubik.
I'm personally actually hoping for a solo mid Clockwork. I've seen Tong Fu use it to almost perfection, I want to say. And Clockwork's kind of a very fun, explosive hero to watch overall. And to be honest, he doesn't match up that badly against a Batrider if you want to take that engagement. But there you go. The Chuan ban of the Silencer. I saw some interesting photos of, I'm not sure whether you actually had a chance to take a peek of the endgame score last game, but Chuan on his support Silencer was 9, 1, and 6. So I know you're saying that, hey, you don't like support Silencers, but that was a carry silencer from that last game. So maybe IG is winning game because they have a 4-core strat, you know? They only have faith on support and everybody else is on carry. Maybe that's why they're winning all these games and breaking the metagame.
Yeah, let's see where they go. And I think it's a suitable ban. It's a respect ban, sure, but I don't think Chuan is going to play it when they already have Rubik, but if they wanted to, they could pick it up, and Vici Gaming just don't want to deal with it. They have these heroes that need to be able to jump in and immediately start a fight in a productive fashion, and getting rid of Silencer, that's one counter-initiator. But IG, again, they already have one with Clockwork. The cogs come out, the hook comes in, and the initiation will be disrupted. Make no two bones about it. It's going to be messed up. So where does IG go from here? They've got a Clockwork, a Rubik, a Gyrocopter. They could run this as a dual lane or a tri-lane with the Clockwork Rubik +1, the Gyro as one of their 2 solos. They could run the Gyro in a protected tri-lane, the Clockwork off lane. They could even run the Clockwork mid. So tons of options for IG. Where do you think they take their draft from here?
I'm not going to guess their lanes. Like you said, it's just too many options, too many variables. I think IG definitely want to kind of solidify their early to mid-game roam. Generally, the supports on Invictus Gaming, they don't like to do kind of 2-man smoke ganks onto the mid lane. That's a little bit too predictable. What IG really like to do is do a ton of counter ganks and teleport counter ganks. So Rubik's a decent hero because when he comes in, he not only lowers your kind of mobility with the telekinesis, lowers your damage output as well with Fabo. Looks like, I imagine they're going to pick up another support that does very similar things. Shadow Demon is banned out. I think that's one of their go-to supports if they have it. Lina could be one as well. Kind of comes out, TP in, LSA, you get a return kill very easily. But yeah, I really don't want to kind of predict what they have because they are very versatile. I do want to speak a little bit about the Silencer ban though. It's definitely a big weapon against a Batrider. And by banning it away, they're going to give XTT a little bit more kind of finagling room. But keep in mind that Rubik still could lift you up as soon as you blink in. So they could still have some sort of easy way to cancel Blink's initiation.
Yeah, Rubik's going to be that opportunity, like you said. Batrider jumps in, you just lift him up and disengage. So I like the matchup in that sense. They'll go for a Juggernaut, which pretty much makes me think this will be a solo Clockwork, possibly a solo Gyrocopter as well, and then maybe a Lina as that final pick. So it gives them a strong tri-lane with Rubik, Lina, Juggernaut, and then it gives you 2 very potent solos in Gyrocopter, Clockwork. I guess the one question is, can anyone really slow down this Batrider, assuming he's going to be one of the solos? If they do run Gyro and Clock as their 2 defensive solos and run the aggressive tri-lane, Batrider should get a lot of farm and should get a really early blink, and it didn't work quite as well last game as what they hoped, but I feel this game, there's not too much standing between this Batrider and successful fights. It's only the cogs.
Yeah, the cogs, I think that's a matchup that Invictus Gaming wants. If you kind of go back and forth in the back Clockwork lane, he's going to throw a ton of cogs. You're not going to kill the Clockwork. He's going to drain all of your mana. So that's kind of their best lane for Invictus Gaming, but I still think Bat kind of wins that lane unless Clocks plays really well. If you could kind of just finagle back and forth and use creep aggro to your advantage, Clock wins that lane if he levels up a battery assault. But that's really hard and something that you don't see in the highest level game a lot. And Bane's going to be the final pickup here for Vici Gaming. If he hits quick level 6, that could be a big one, especially dealing with Gyrocopter with Feeble, but more importantly, Phoenix Group being a very, very spammable, kind of a big ultimate ganking spell. It is going to be Lina, as we both predicted, and is it going to be offensive tri-lane from Invictus Gaming? I feel that's a very possible laning option.
It really
here.
feels like it. It feels like a solo mid Clockwork, maybe a solo mid Gyrocopter, but with 430 playing the Clockwork, expected some mid Clock, and then a defensive safe lane Gyro. I think that's the way to lane it if you're IG, but I gotta say, Lumi, I like Vici Gaming's draft better this game. I wouldn't say they're really dominant at the early levels, but they're a lot more serviceable. Last game, frankly, their level 1, level 2, level 3 was just bad. With Shadow Demon, Sandcade, and then Anti-Mage and a Tri-Lane, you can't do anything against what IG had, which was 3 strong laning heroes. So I think Vici Gaming, they've definitely got a better shot at doing well in this Tri-Lane.
Are they going offensive with Gyrocopter? Zoe's saving for quick bottle. Looks like he's going to be going mid. It's going to be YYF. That's going to be go offensive. Let's quickly introduce the players here. Faith is going to be playing Alina. We have Tron playing the support Rubik, YYF on the Juggernaut off lane, or offensive tri-lane. Zoe's going to be solo mid Gyro, and 430 on the safe lane Clock. So a little bit different from predicted, but, you know, kind of, it's all the same.
Nice play by FY, just poking his head out a tiny bit to scout what's coming his way. And while Vici Gaming should be expecting this aggressive tri-lane, it's going to be a little tough for them at the early levels, I feel. And if ZSMJ gets caught, he'll pretty much be dead. There's really no way to save him. Sure, you have sleep, and that's maybe a second of invulnerability, but that's not going to save you from things like Blade Fury, Telekinesis Lift. So it'll come down to positioning for him to not get caught. But if he's able to stay back and get levels, I think they'll be A-okay with that. And well, off the bat, let's introduce Vici Gaming. We've got FY handling the Leshrac, ZSMJ on the Luna, Fenrir going to be taking up the role of the Bane at CTY. We'll be playing a solo mid Nyx, and then up towards top lane. Hero I really want to keep my eyes on, it's XTT, starting the game with a double damage rune. Up against the Clockwork, this should be an opportunity for him to really make things happen.
Yeah, his cogs have to be absolutely on top of it. But what about this mid matchup? We haven't seen Nyx Assassin too much. He has completely missed the first block. Whether that's on purpose or not, we'll leave it up to this discussion and discretion. But he's going to have the disadvantage down the hill as a melee hero. Going to be opening up as a Mana Burn and going for the quick bottle. Your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, Gyrocopter doesn't really... I mean, he needs his mana, but all his spells are cheap, right? Flat Cannon's 50 mana. Rocket Barrage doesn't cost much either. And if you Bottle Crow, you'll definitely be able to keep the spells flowing. So I don't really think Mana Burn's going to bother Zhou too much in this lane. And when it comes to a Nyx Assassin maybe diving him, that's very dangerous. You don't want to be in close. That's where Rocket Barrage ruins you. So I think, if anything, it should be Zhou who definitely wins the lane. But CTY is a fantastic mid player. Won't surprise me. Oh, bottom lane. Might have a go here. Any second now. Fenrir looking for a... Oh, just did Enfeeble. Took Enfeeble at level 1. They actually will hit a Split Earth on Chuan. Well, with Enfeeble at level 1, you really don't want to fight if you're Vici Gaming. But yeah, I feel like this mid lane Zhou should win it, especially in the early levels. But CTY potentially has more opportunity to set up kills on the tri-lane. So it could work out for them in that sense.
If he finds like a lucky haste rune or maybe even double damage, and that could definitely seal the deal. But CTY is just looking for quick level 6 here and basically look to rotate off the mid lane. But here's something I don't really like about Nyx Assassin in the mid lane is that it gets painfully obvious. It's like, hey, well, he's missing. Well, what do you think he's going to be doing? He's going to be ganking you. So I imagine IG is going to be piecing those information together very quickly, and they won't fall victim to too many Vendetta ganks.
That's where you really want to rotate someone like the Leshrac or even the Bane, because also they want levels, especially the Bane. You want to get access to Fiend Script, put them in the lane. Still, it's going to be suspicious. For a team like IG, doesn't matter if you put someone else there, they're going to notice if the Nyx is missing. I want to take a look at the top lane, because XTT started with a double damage room, Lumi, and in spite of that, well, he's not even winning the lane. 6-1 to 7-1 of Ferrari. By no means is he doing poorly, but not dominating that lane the way you would hope. And take a quick look at the middle lane. CTY manning up a bit, but I mean, as you can see, 8-1 on Zhou. He'll have the bottle coming out soon, and really, well, where is that bottle actually? Oh, sorry, it's already on him. I clicked on him, completely forgot to look. Now bottom lane. ZSMJ gonna get pulled back in, gets caught, and will be picked off. Flame Break, or rather, excuse me, not Flame Break. Dragon Slave to fly. They pick up the kill. Go home, LD. You're drunk. Lumi, save me.
Well, they made that go because they noticed that FY was getting the rune. You could see that these two observers were seeing the complete path that XY took, and that was good opportunity. That's generally when if you're playing on the carry, you back off, because the enemy team will make a go. Even if you're not really out of position, they know they have the number advantage. So ZSMJ making kind of a clearest mistake that you don't expect a veteran to make, and give away a first blood.
That's 2 games in a row where he's gotten caught out, and I mean, you got to look at both of those and say they were fairly avoidable. You know Leshrac's off the lane. You have to stay farther back. It sucks you're missing CS, but you got to be more careful, and he gives up an easy kill. And frankly, if they had something like a Shadow Demon here, I think maybe it's different. Maybe he can get away with it. But when it's just a Bane to help you out, there's just no running. And FY off the map needs to play more defensively. Doesn't, pays the price. That's 2 games in a row for him where he struggled. But the good news, I suppose, is they have 2 solos who can really turn the tri-lane around in the Batrider as well as the Nyx Assassin. Still, if all 5 heroes both descend on that bottom lane at level 5 or 6, I would probably even still favor IG. Until Vici Gaming gets Eclipse, I don't think they really take team fights this early.
Yeah, I feel that farm is not nearly as important on Luna compared to ZSMJ's anti-mage last game. He really just want levels in this lane. Once you get your level 7, you level 8, you group up and just go for a big push. And there's really hard to stop out top lane though. A ton of harass going back and forth. XCT dropping dangerously low. He's running out of regen here, and he needs something like a bottle to really fill him up quick.
I'm looking at what IG's managed to do here, and earlier they had the camp warded off, and Vici Gaming I don't think they've actually gotten a single pull-off. They'll start to do it now. FY's only level 2, Fenrir level 3. They've gotten a little bit out of this lane, but not as much as you would like, and then you look at what IG has with that kill. They're all level 3. They're out-experiencing this. They're getting more experience than what Vici Gaming is, and Vici Gaming's the defensive tri-lane. This is just IG winning the tri-lane and doing it convincingly. Fenrir is going to posture in, knowing the Blade Fury is down. This is an opportunity to strike, but the problem is they got to catch someone, and they can't catch Faith. Lucent Beam will connect, of course, but the Split Earth does not. That means Faith gets out. Blade Fury will be available in 10 seconds. It's a long way to chase. I'm surprised they're still going. They find Chuan. YYF's here. He'll start with auto attacks. Look for the Blade Fury. Doesn't even need it. FY is going to go down one by one. They're going to get picked off. In comes the Bane. A big wraparound backstep for him. XTT has teleported in. He looks to turn this tri-lane around. He'll find Chuan. He'll look to pick him off. Chuan going to try to die to the tower. Try to deny that gold to the Batrider, but XTT gets it. So they get the trade 1 for 1 there, or excuse me, 2 for 1, but Batrider had to leave the top lane. That means 430, already level 6, and farming and leveling freely.
Yeah, IG, I want to say they dropped the ball a tiny bit. Clockwork did an excellent job on the top lane. Despite the double damage, forced Batrider to actually go back. But Batrider just walked all the way back to base, and that's when you say your IG, alright, I haven't seen Bat for a long while, he probably base. And that's when you don't start a fight, because he has a teleport scroll. Either he's teleporting it back top, or he's going to be teleporting to another lane and counter gang. Despite of that, IG took that fight, and, well, they came out a little bit south, and that's going to give the SMJ a little bit more room to farm. Dropping the ball like that, not going to be the biggest deal, but that's going to mean that the SMJ is going to have more room to farm, and you never really want to give any farm to Vici Gaming, to be honest.
CTY is really holding his own in this middle lane. 22-4 against the Gyrocopter. That's impressive farm for a Nyx Assassin. He's really doing a good job. Frankly, better than I would have expected. But at the same time, he's not really getting many runes, which, when you run a solo mid Nyx, that's how you can find kills even if you're not off the map for long. If you have, say, a haste, maybe you get bottom before IG can retreat. Split Earth will connect to YYF. Chuan, the one with the haste, just kind of finagling around, and IG is just, they're constantly contesting this pull Lumi, and, oh, CTY on the run, Joe on the chase, finds the rocket rod, CTY rid around the Rosie, but runs right back into a waiting and wily Joe. The rocket flare is there to complete the kill, and now XTT, will he pull him up onto the high ground? No flame break, not yet. He's got the mana for it, he's stacking the napalm, he's waiting, he's biding his time with a hook from downtown. 430's gonna catch him out, push him away, and protect Joe. Beautiful little rotation. Vici Gaming, well, they're just, that's the Nyx Assassin getting ganked. The opposite of what you want.
Yeah, you can see that CTY was pinging on that cliff a billion times. What he wanted to do was Batrider to pull the Gyrocopter up top, and I think it was a smart decision for XTT to not pull him up, because that is going to be close quarter where Rocket Barrage is going to do a ton of damage, and Ferrari can join the fight. He's actually looking for a little bit more XTT out of mana, and he's going to be making this huge time. The cog's going to hit. Those cogs are doing a ton of work, but looks like he has actually got Flame Break out of it, and then a backstab. CTY is going to find a little bit of revenge kill there.
That was an incredibly intelligent play by Ferrari up to a certain point, because he saw that the Batrider didn't have mana. That's why he went. Now bottom lane, Fenrir gets thrown back into a Blade Fury, into a Light Strike Ray. Can he get a Brain Sap off? He will. Won't matter. Still going to go down. YYF not level 6, or he would have gone for 2 there. Tried to turn 2, but I mean, it was a really smart play by Ferrari. The problem was he didn't count on the Flame Break. There was just enough mana for it, and that's when it became, well, a little bit of an overextension. But I like the decision there with no Firefly. That's a rare opportunity to actually kill a Batrider.
Yep, Zoe in the mid lane perhaps might get a little bit ganked. It's very easy for them to initiate with a spike carapace, especially if he's going to be flat cannoning like this. FY, going to run across with double damage. It's going to hit a spliff. It looks like they want to really go for the kill. They are going to get the kill, taking advantage. The fact that there is no vision in the river. Very nicely done here by CTY.
While that was happening, though, ZSMJ gets picked off again. He's really struggling. Level 5, not farming particularly well, sitting right now at, I mean, let's look at his CS. It's barely anything. 18 and 5, 8 minutes in. That's not going to cut it as the Luna. The good news is they don't need a really fat Luna right now, but later on they will. And then you look at who's getting the farm on IG, and it's a gyrocopter. Yes, he dies, but he's still leading the way with 3.1k net worth, and the Juggernaut for YYF not far behind with 2.6k. If this game goes later, as it goes later, Lumi, who's going to do the damage with ZSMJ not farming?
I think it really comes down to how many towers that Vici Gaming could take early on with the threat of Eclipse, as well as, you know, the big aura. Looks like he's going to be teleporting back on the bot lane to farm a bit. So, let's say if they take all the tier 1 towers...
Top lane, they're going to catch out Joe. Impale's going to miss CTY a little overzealous. They'll still go on. And where are those teleports that we saw in game 1? Joe pulled back. Impale cooling down. They may get the kill anyway, and despite that missing. But that might cost them. Who knows? Call down comes in. Impale to fly. They'll connect. They'll get the kill. For 430 comes in with a hook and a head full of steam. But can he find a secondary kill? Doesn't look like it yet. Yep, there you go. The backup is there from Faith. CTY gonna fall. Maybe not actually with the carapace. Able to get out, Lumi. Well, CTY, you gotta say, just a little bit over-eager there with the Impale. And in the end, they still get the kill and they get out. But it could have been really bad.
This is exactly the type of game that Vici Gaming wants to play. A little bit chaotic, where you even in terms of kills, because this is not where they're strongest at. They're just buying a ton of room, a ton of space for ZSMJ. Sure, he's getting ganked. That gank on the bot lane, a little bit unfortunate for ZSMJ, because the Clockwork came in with the hook, and you don't have sight, so there's really nothing you can do about that. But hey, look at him, safely pocketed away on that tier 2 tower, gonna be trying his best to last it. And his teammates doing an excellent job buying him room. FY gonna get a couple of CS on the mid lane as well, but here comes Ferrari. He's been just so effective with this ganks. Every time that hook comes off cooldown, he finds the target, he finds the kill, and it might happen again here on the mid lane.
ZSMJ really needs a teleport scroll. He's got Eclipse, and I think he's getting one now on the courier. No, actually sending a magic wand. Mumall 430 is gonna find 4 heroes in a matter of seconds. He's invis, like you mentioned, scouting around. Is that a subject? Well, he'll get power treads and a walk mid. I suppose that's fine, but they already lose the tier 1. Smoke from IG off the back of that. They want to take a fight. They have Omni Slash, they have Hook. They've got the makings of a very strong engagement. Chuan's not level 6, but he'll hit it quickly if they find some kills. And Vici Gaming, they know something's up, and they're playing very, very scared, and rightfully so.
Well, they say I don't see that clock, and I can't engage. SMJ, what are you doing, my friend? He just gets blown up out of complete position. Oh no, I hate to say this, but ZSMJ is really feeding hard in both of these games. Not impressive play.
There was 5 heroes off the map there. They just took the tier 1. IG, they're known for their aggression. It's understandable that he wants to go get the farm, but somebody's got to clear the way first. They'll teleport top. They look to get a kill on Joe, but the problem is the backup's coming. It's a big party down the river, and, well, the Satyrs are going to spot it out with a bit of a blast, but Bane caught. Now Blade Fury, no way out. Laguna down. Man, these supports finding the kills. 430 hooks, wants to. Can he turn it? It looks like he will. That's why to drop. That's 2 that hit the deck, and no Luna in sight. Eclipse is going to come? Maybe, but too late and not going to do much in these fights. IG just finding those scrappy little fights and making them work.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad gank up top. I think CTY maybe jumped the gun a little bit too soon. He should have known that he's not going to get a kill on that gyrocopter, especially when he had a very healthy one. And that's another thing that CTY did not take account of. And they didn't get the kill, and that was really it. Kind of counter gank completely by IG. And a tier 1 tower goes down. They should be happy, they being Vici Gaming, that they didn't even lose tier 2 off of that. But again, they're going to go back to farm. They got to start looking for some kills, maybe off the back of CTY, maybe off the back of a level 6 Bane, which he's going to get right about now. And when is that group up Dota? I keep kind of talking about it. This is the potential of a Luna, but maybe not, because she doesn't really have nothing. You really can't group up until she has the drums. And she is so damn far from the drums.
By the time she gets drums, I don't think it's going to matter, because IG is going to have their next set of items that allow her that Luna to die even quicker. Joe probably has his own drums being delivered right now. No, an Ogre Club, so we'll go straight for the BKB. And Laguna Blade alone is going to bring this Luna almost from full to nothing in a matter of seconds. That +1 nuke. They are smoked. They're trying to unveil that shiny new Blink Dagger, but an Observer and a Sentry in the river are going to spot things out, and IG will back off. They're prepared. A little bit of bad luck for Vici Gaming, just running down the middle lane, but they have a Nyx, and that's why there's a Sentry Ward in the lane. So IG, as a result, will spot it, and this is time wasted for Vici Gaming. They're trying to group Bloomy, but I don't know. I think if anyone has the better 5-man lineup, it's really IG, with a BKB coming soon on show, healing Ward on their side, and Chuan now having level 6.
Yeah, more importantly, having the hook initiation is just so strong. IG pops another smoke. They're roaming as a party. Maybe kind of predicting that ZSMJ will roam into his jungle for a little bit of farm and try to pick him off there. But ZSMJ is staying rather close after that little bit of misstep earlier on. And where the hell are they going right now?
They're in his head right now. IG is
expecting... This is like some next level warding? Yes, Fabe says, alright, smoke up, I want to ward that high ground. Okay.
I like it. Stick his 5, don't go off on your own to ward, but get the ward up. Now if ZSMJ... Where's he going to farm? All the tier 1s are down, Lumi, so they know he's got to basically go bottom or mid, because if he goes top, that is just such an easy kill. Blink, Lasso is going to catch out. Fade, but the Omni Slash splashes through, doing decent damage. Eclipse only hitting the neutrals, really not doing anything for ZSMJ. I think maybe one Lucent Beam hits Fade there, but not as much as what you would hope for. Now it's going to be Leshrac on the run. IG will back off. Well, they gave up a kill. They got one in exchange. I think Vici Gaming okay with that, mostly because ZSMJ didn't die, and he got a desperately, desperately needed kill.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, ZSMJ, the only way he could farm is take this path into the enemy neutral and farm there. And if you're farming the enemy neutrals 15 minutes in the game, you are in bad shape. And that's exactly what Vici Gaming is doing right now, because everywhere he farms in his own jungle, he is going to get scouted. There's no way to get there without being scouted. He now found a little bit of safe haven on the bot lane. He's going straight BKB, no drums, no Ring of Aquila, nothing sweet and fancy. He just needs to get something that helps him win a team fight, and BKB is the best item to do it.
Right now, looking at about a 5,000 gold lead for IG. They have 3 towers to 0 on the side of Vici Gaming, so it's mostly tower gold. Not entirely, though. They lead in terms of experience on Vici Gaming. All things considered, a much better game for VG. By the way, I just want to mention, CTY's gone for his patented phase boots. He does it on Clockwork. He's now going to do it on Nyx Assassin. This is very unusual. He needs arcade boots, and his teammates don't have them, so... I don't know, man. I feel like he's going to struggle for mana, but it's CTY, and he certainly loves his phase.
Yeah, I wonder where he's going to transition off of this. Maybe he's going to upgrade at drums. I guess a Bracer helps out right now for a little bit of extra stats. Yeah, we'll see. This is something you don't see too often because Nyx Assassin is so accustomed getting that arcane boots. But hey, he's CTY.
Look at IG, the confidence of this team. They're going to strut into the Roche Pit, and this is reason number 2 why they love Juggernaut. Reason number 1, you drop Healing Ward, you take tier 1s very, very early, and you don't have to back after taking a fight. Reason number 2 is, you take Roshan very, very early, and they're going for it now. They get the Sage of Sloomy, they get a BKB on Joe, and they go for the tier 2s, and I don't really know what Vici Gaming does about that.
Yeah, they know it's completely safe. They see out Bat Riders up top, and right now Vici Gaming is just so scared that they can't even challenge this Roshan, even if they know it's going to happen. A Sentry Ward gets dropped down the river to smoke out any kind of, well, sniff out any kind of smoke gank attempt. IG smoke out of the pit, and they look for a pit pick-off. If they find a pick-off right now, that's tier 2, and maybe even tier 3. They're drawing a big line. They see CTY. Well, he does get off his spike carapace, but that's a ton of nukes coming in. Really, Faith?
Yeah. Really? Really? Well, he gets
kill insured, guys.
Yeah, kill secured. Didn't actually even get it himself, but there's just a difference between these two teams, and it's not in terms of individual skill, although I think IG probably is a bit stronger overall in terms of that department. It's IG has a clear purpose. Every movement of the team, it feels like one body executing that moment with movement with precision. Vici Gaming, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of limbs going their own direction, and against IG, you have to have a unified game plan. They're in disarray. How do they get organized right now? I'm really not sure. IG are going to take this tier 2, and with Healy Ward, they'll just keep on taking those towers. And Vici Gaming don't have any summons or units that can go in and snipe the ward. So if a hero goes in, well, then he probably dies, which makes it very hard to stop these pushes.
Until you get that BKB on Luna, you can't really win it. I guess Bat Rider could blink in and maybe snipe that ward if it's a little bit out of position, but, you know, you're putting yourself in a very dangerous position. So ZSMJ, BKB check, nowhere close. I guess
CTY not again gets called out by a call down. There's a lot of damage. CTY, first one to drop. Fenrir caught the cogs. Will go down next on the back lines. It's XTT. Chuan's about to steal something. What's it gonna be for Chuan? Well, actually, spell's still going down. Excuse me. Won't steal anything just yet. 3 heroes hit the deck, and it's that early ward. We were chuckling about it earlier. but it pays off now. They get some kills. IG so good at not just finding the first level of kills, but getting the wards and the map control up to fuel the second level of aggression.
Yeah, and now they back off to make sure that they don't lose too many towers, go back to jungle and farm a little bit. All the smokes are down here for IG. I think I've seen them use 3 or 4 smokes now, quickly checking their shop. They still have 1 more left, so I guess if Vici Gaming could slow down the game for the next couple of minutes and get some farm going on that Luna, then they have a chance, because they still have a very good counter ganking squad. Bad Rider will be there with the Blink, your Nyx Assassin will be there with this Phase Vendetta build. And as long as you, again, stay close to your towers, you should be okay. The thing is, whenever you lose a kill to IG, they are so punishing. You lose a tower when you lose a kill, so they can't give away anything here if they're Vici Gaming.
I feel if they lose one more fight, they probably lose Rax. If not directly off of that fight, they'll just be so far behind, and IG will get that next set of items where there will be no defending it. Now, whenever you have Bat Rider, it's always going to be hard for the enemy team to break your base. So I won't rule it out that Vici Gaming can defend, but there's an Aegis in IG. There's about to be a BKB on Joe. It's flying out right now. Defending this, very close to impossible. They have to take a fight in their base, and it's got to be like that fight we saw in Game 1, right? Where Nyx, or the Lifestealer got lassoed into the enemy tier 4s. I feel it takes a similar thing this game to actually stop IG from pushing.
Yeah, it's just that the Clockwork has been so good at kind of preventing that Flame Lasso initiation. His teammate gets dragged, and suddenly he gets stunned, him being the Bat Rider. So, you know, 430's always looking out for you here with his own Clockwork hook. He is also going for BKB. So I think once that's done, IG's going to be looking to break the base.
Yeah, it could be a BKB. Could even just be a negative scepter, I feel. Either way,
yeah,
either way, it would be a great choice. And we'll see what he goes for. BKB is going to help a lot, though, because Vici Gaming, sure, they have these 2 disables in the Flamey Lasso as well as the Fiend script that do go through BKB. Problem is, they have no physical damage, so BKB basically makes you immortal, except to towers. Luna, right now, just sitting on soon a BKB for ZSMJ, but that's it. He's not doing anything outside of Eclipse, and even Eclipse isn't really hurting that much. So IG, yeah, I think a BKB, even though normally the Ags is the way to go on clock, the more I think about it, I'm kind of with you. I think it's just going to make you invulnerable in these fights.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, sure, there's the SMJ BKB Eclipse, but you got to keep in mind that once the BKB is up, like you kind of talked about, like it doesn't matter, and he's level 10. Like that is so sad for a carry to be level 10 at this point in the game. If you look at the level chart, he's kind of middle down the road here in terms of how far he is.
And it's a 1-core lineup too. Sure, they have these. Well, I guess you could say they have other cores, but they don't have any other carries. Here's like Bat Rider, Nyx Assassin are not your late game, mid game damage dealers, or mid game maybe, but certainly not late game. And the one hero who can bring the big, deep slate is the Luna, and unfortunately ZSMJ is not farming well, and IG continues to apply economic pressure and do damage everywhere they go, stealing the enemy neutrals, keeping the wards up as much as possible. I would like to see a gem for them soon, just to help even further restrict Vici Gaming. Vici Gaming may go for a smoke now. I feel like they're in a vice. There's a boa constrictor slowly choking the life out of them, and they have to try to escape, but I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. Now, Force Staff is going to be up on Chuan, so that's another way to initiate or counter-initiate. Quick item check here on Clockwork. Still no real anything being purchased, so we have to kind of wait and see. No, it's going to be a BKB. Mithril Hammer gets picked up, so the invulnerable IG team will be crashing your gates soon. And this is going to be a slight calm before the storm as DSMJ as well as the rest of his team scramble to get any type of item. And there's a Blink Dagger up on Lina now.
The better to secure those kills with. Blink in, Laguna Blade, Profit. We're going to see it from Faith.
Well, sure. She's going to have to find that level 11 for even better
for maximum profits, that's true.
Yeah.
The good news is the cooldown is very low, even at level 1. Only 70 seconds, but for IG, it's like you said, calm before the storm. They're going to wait for the double BKB. They already have 1 on show. They'll have the second soon on 430. They might wait for the Manta style, if that's what YYF wants to go for. Even an Aghanims is a great choice for pushing, just because you're a little bit tankier, you're harder to kill, and it makes the siege a little bit safer. But either way, wait for those next items. Wait for Roche number 2. You win that, then you go with your healing ward and all your big items. And Vici Gaming are just not even going to scratch IG, unless IG really messes up their positioning.
Yep. Generally, when you have a kind of a downtime in terms of farming, that's when Nyx Assassin says to himself, all right, kind of everybody's splitting up. They're looking for farm in the jungle. Let's vendetta out and go for a kill. He can't even do that. Like he just turned level 11. That means his Vendetta just got upgraded level 2. Level 1 Vendetta, you cannot kind of venture off the map and find kills because by the time you find a hero, your Vendetta is out. You're not gonna get that really big backstab damage. He's just becoming a huge non-factor. Looks like we're gonna see a big smoke gank up top, but I mean, has Zoe ever got caught by a smoke gank?
He certainly has,
sure.
but he's not going to get caught by this one. Not the way he's going.
This one is so obvious too. Look at this. Creep wave pushing in, nobody defending it on Vici Gaming side.
I would say it's obvious, but at the same time, oh, they're going to smoke and go right back in. Who's going to lead the way? It will be Zhou. CTY gets caught, but maybe it's actually Zhou who's doing the catching right now. Fenrir will drop quick. That Red Lasso's there, but again, where's the damage? Where is it? It's just not here when you need it. Eclipse has already been deployed. They got a Rubik. Chuan hit the deck earlier. Now Faith, Laguna chucked in. Didn't actually do that much. Here comes your Omni Slash if YYF can get in range. Luna very fast, but is she fast enough? Flame Break is here. Pushes YYF back. Staves off the inevitable, perhaps. They're still giving chase. They're on the hunt. They've got the scent, but they can't get in range just yet. It looks like, I mean, call it a decent trade for Vici Gaming. They get a kill.
Really good trade.
And they get a kill and they don't horribly lose a team fight. That's a great trade for them.
I mean, Eclipse is down, and I think IG is trying to press for this. But let's say if no push really comes from this, yeah, nothing is going to come out of this. Look at where the creep wave is. You get 3 decent lane of farm. IG's going to go into the enemy jungle and get a little bit of gold themselves. But yeah, great trade. The way where the creep equilibrium ended up to be, Vici Gaming is going to find themselves a ton of gold and no real threat of being wrecked just yet, which you got to be happy about if you're Vici Gaming.
You know, I was going to say right before that fight broke out, I figured, looking at IG, I mean, sure, they're always a very patient and prepared team for the most part, but Vici Gaming's been playing so scared, it wouldn't have surprised me if IG figured that they were just in their base and afraid to go to the creep waves, but in fact, that wasn't the case, so IG, they'll go back to farming, but I mean, we were really, you know, oohing and eyeing about how good that fight was for Vici Gaming, simply because it was probably the first fight they didn't horribly lose in this entire series. Problem is, they only got 1 kill, and more importantly, they didn't do anything to establish control over the Roshan pit. So it was the best fight they've had in a while, but it really wasn't a dominating fight by any means. And now IG looking at a pretty easy Rosh once it respawns in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we call it a good fight because it wasn't a 3-0 trade.
By their standards, it is.
Yeah. And you know, nothing, you know, saying bad about Vici Gaming, it's just that they're being kind of outclassed, and I think that might be an understatement. So maybe they're expecting Roshan to be camped right now, which it is, and they're trying to slowly finagle themselves a tier 1 tower. You see that Bat Rider as well as Vendetta Nyx is getting positioned to make sure they get this one. That's so much investment. A tier 1 tower that I just kind of freely grabbed 10 minutes ago.
They're not going to let it go down without a fight. They're all heading top right now. The tower.
CSMJ has a clip soon.
Well, here comes Zhou. He's got Flat Cannon and the BKB ready to go now. 430 gets gripped. But again, where's the damage? They just don't have it. The last will Zhou, but he's not even taking damage right now. He drops off an Eclipse. Or sorry, a Flat Cannon does good work. Why we have Omni Slash slicing and dicing. Will drop low to the Eclipse. Will he go down? That's the question. Not just yet. Now ZenaSmJ. 3 allies dead. He'll be the 4th unless he can teleport away in time. Hook will end his ambitions of escape. 430 makes it 4. They want 5. Can they find XTT? Where's that rocket? Not coming yet. They're just going to hoof it towards the Roshan pit.
No, Bat Rider racing back to defend his towers. He does have a Blink Dagger. Bot tower is really in trouble. I gotta commend Vici Gaming for the focus of killing Chuan, because Chuan is by far the most dangerous hero that's not really directly dealing with DPS, because if he somehow finds himself Eclipse, you're never winning a teamfight again, because you know, you're not going to beat Eclipse, especially when there's only 1 BKB up on Vici Gaming. So both these team fights, the last one we saw ZSMJ just gunning for Chuan, got a quick kill. Same thing here, CTY gunning for Chuan and got the kill there as well. Unfortunately, Eclipse didn't nearly do as much damage in this team fight, and really it was a one-sided affair.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the other problem is Chuan. I feel the other reason they're focusing him. He's one of the few killable heroes. Gyro with the BKB at an Aegis, you're not killing him. 430 with the BKB, you're not killing him. YY with Omni Slash and Blade Fury, you're not killing him. So at the end of the day, it's good to focus Chuan because he does a lot of damage relative to his HP, but he's also one of the few heroes that can be killed. And that's kind of a concern when there's a Gyro with a Butterfly coming just about any second now. In fact, it'll be heading out to Zhou right now. There's a Juggernaut with a Butterfly of his own coming in 450 gold. Double Butterfly. An unorthodox build for your 2 carries, but considering the farm that ZenaSmJ is getting, there's no MKB in sight for this guy. So this evasion will be absolutely massive for at least 15 to 20 minutes. And that's if Vici Gaming somehow mounts a comeback.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, last time we saw an almost fully channel Fiend script on the clock who popped this BKB. ZSMJ was hitting him hard, which wasn't really hard. He was just kind of getting a couple of right clicks off, and Clockwork said, alright, right hit is done, I'm gonna start doing my cogs, and it's as if nothing really happened to him, and that's really not a good sign for Vici Gaming.
Yeah.
Are they gonna smoke up and do something again, or... Well, they do see YYF farming, but how do you actually kill this guy? You gotta grip him with your Bane and five-man focus, and I don't think he's gonna get caught out like that.
They may make a foray up this direction, but the tier 1's also still up. So even if they kill YYF, they may get hooked and then get wiped, blowing everything just to bring that Juggernaut down. And that's also assuming he doesn't somehow get the Omni Slash off. Maybe the healing ward's in the trees before you jump him. Maybe he Blade Fury so he doesn't take much damage. If you don't kill him, you get 5-man wipe, you lose rack. So they'll play it slow. They'll try and go for the tower. I think the smart play by Vici Gaming, I don't know, however, if it'll be enough. Double Butterfly probably on the way right now. Indeed it is. And this could be the end. For IG, they're looking for racks. Vici Gaming, it's one last stand. They're a little bit slow back to the base. They'll try to defend now. Keep your eyes on XTT. With a blink and a force, he's the one that wants to jump in, but he'll need a missile to start this off. Won't be able to engage just yet. All 5 back in the base. Observer wards deployed on the high ground. They have full high ground vision for IG. They're just sieging away, and even with Enfeeble, Joe doesn't care. Chipping and slowly wearing down this tower, eroding the HP. He doesn't even take damage from the Luna, trying to walk in and auto-attack him. A Fiend script, he shrugs that off too. Pops his wand, tower will fall. A methodical and meticulous siege from IG.
Yeah, and the constant rocket spam, making sure you see the Batrider, you see where the angle of attack, you see a Batrider smartly sticking to the left side, because perhaps maybe realizing that there might be a ward in their base. IG backs off, at least for now, kind of waiting for maybe the Enfeeble to wear off, waiting for the next creep wave. Flat Cannon's back up, could harass the enemy heroes behind it with Flat Cannon on the racks.
Question is, who do you go on right now? You don't really want to go on Joe because he's got the Aegis and a BKB. You don't want to go on Juggernaut because he's going to Blade Fury and Omni. You're not unlikely to kill him. They'll go on Joe, but remember, he's got 2 lives. Hook is actually going to miss, I think, 430. Hit an ally's back. Maybe this is the fight they needed. They did use Fiend Script as well as last to find kill number 1. BKB is deployed. IG's going to fight this out inside of the tier 4s, nearly inside of the fountain, and it might cost them a lot. YYF is low. He's not dead yet. He'll Blade Fury his way out. The fight rages on. Luna hits the deck. ZSMJ picked off and brought down again. But, oh, wow, what a play. What a man XTT has. Blinks in. Flame breaks 1 down. 2 dead now for Vici Gaming, 1 for IG, plus the Aegis. Call it just a bit of an overextension from IG and a great defensive play from Vici Gaming. It's the power of Batrider to defend the high ground with Blink, Lasso, and Force Staff. You never can really be too aggressive, but in spite of that, IG, I feel round 2 they can still take the racks if they do it right.
Yeah, they forced a kill on ZSMJ, which, I mean, it was decent defense from Vici Gaming, but when you lose your carry, who could be rising mid, for example, right now, you're not really winning the kind of the grind war, if you could call it that. I don't even want to call it an overextension by IG. I mean, you have Aegis and Butterfly and BKB on Gyrocopter. You think he's safe, and to be honest, he really was safe. I think Vici Gaming could have probably killed him a second time, though, if Finrar did not use this glyph. I mean, the Flaming Lasso dragged him to the tier 4, which was nice. They got a kill on that, but imagine if he respawned and popped the BKB, and that's when you grip him with 2 tier 4s on him, with ZSMJ right-clicking on him. You actually get that second kill, Butterfly or not. And the game could swing pretty big. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. The grip went on the first life, but look at the top lane here. CTY says, alright, the first time I could actually roam out the base, and I see myself a Juggernaut, so I turn back.
32 minutes in. I mean, it does really feel like the first time he's gotten to gank all game. CTY just constantly... It's been Vici Gaming reacting to everything that Invictus Gaming does. Vici Gaming are trying to respond. They're never able to set the tempo this game, and even though they'll try to go for that kill, they won't actually find it. 430 now is a plate mail online. Looks like maybe a Shiva's Guard, maybe an Assault Caress. Either would be a great choice for helping them to tank and be more aggressive at taking the racks down. And 4-step in from Tron. Hook to fly as well. IG is fishing. They won't get a bite this time, but they'll throw the hook out there in just a few seconds and try again.
I like that IG just got whatever item they pick up, the plate mail. Like, it's a good example of a cheap item that you get, and they immediately go back for the mid lane. The Eclipse down for about a couple more seconds, And ZSMJ should be spending all of his gold here as well. Don't say for being things like buyback. There's no point. If you can hold and somehow win a team fight, you buy yourself more time. And so far, IG not threatening. IG may be taking us a little bit more slowly than they would like to because they're giving ZSMJ again a little bit more room to farm, but they're being starved. They get one wave of creeps, and IG get one wave and the enemy jungle, and if they want it, their own jungle. So you can see the goal graph, it's not really going in a direction, and that goal graph is just completely ugly. 20,000 goal lead for IG in 30 minutes?
Normally you see this when the game's ending, or you see it in a 60-minute game where one team's far ahead but doesn't have the late game. You very rarely see this 33 minutes in with all the racks standing, and it's really just because IG is playing safe, smart, and stable. They're not taking unnecessary risks. Sure, the fans would love to see them go force fights at the tier 4s, and that might be more entertaining, but it's not high percentage, maximum chance to win Dota. This is starve them out, farm your heroes up, but even if you want, wait for the next Roche, and then go break the base, play it safe, and it's also just respecting the Bat Rider. With a Blink and a Force Staff, it could happen again, and this time they don't have an Aegis, they lose their Gyro, maybe they lose 2 or 3 off of that, so I think it's the right play from IG, even if it's not the exciting play, and for Vici Gaming, they're doing what they can, which is to say they're not dying, but they can't leave the base. There's just no two ways about it. There's not a whole lot they can do right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it, but IG might be in like an awkward position. They are stronger than enemy team by multiple folds, but they can't actually break high ground, so they have to back off, and it really comes down to Vici Gaming not making a mistake before the next Roshan. And ZSMJ right now, he's running out really far from the base, and they don't see where the enemy hero is, so this is kind of like pure map awareness. He's not going to get punished for it, at least either. They're going to charge down the mid lane, and this is somewhat dangerous, because if IG win a fight here, they win the game.
I just want to point out the wards. I'm not going to stop to show them too much, because the push is coming, but IG just has an absolute minefield of wards completely enclosing the base. It's hard to leave, and ZSMJ will get caught. There's your BKB from 430. What can they do? The last will show, but he just gets thrown up in the air. Chuan disengages safely, and now with the Luna dead, there's no way out. Juggernaut comes in, makes a shish kebab out of Bane. I don't know how good he tastes, but he is dead nonetheless. CTY with the phase boots, trying to run. Drums available. He'll go inside under cover of Vendetta to escape this one, but with Luna dead and ZSMJ also blowing Eclipse as well as BKB, it doesn't matter if he could buy back. He's not defending this. This is Rax. It might be game.
It really is game. They don't have the Flaming Lasso initiation, which is their most reliable way to kill Zoe or pick off whoever they want to pick off. And IG is going to just take these Raxes and dare Vici Gaming to come in. I do want to call a critical mistake from ZSMJ though. Great reaction to pop his BKB as he got cogged, so he wasn't taking any kind of mini stun damage. What he should have done, instead of just kind of, I guess, maybe choked a little bit and popped the Eclipse, what he should have done is, after he popped the BKB, attack the cogs. It takes 3 attacks to break a cog, but you have more than enough time to get off 3 attacks because you are BKB, and he probably could have survived, not use Eclipse, and go back and cut their losses, and perhaps defend the Rex. That's not what he did though. He popped the BKB and tried to right-click a Clockwork, and Clockwork doesn't care. And eventually, you know, he died, ZSMJ, and kind of that's where they lost the melee and Rax mid lane.
It's a Clockwork with a plate mail, 16 armor, a Luna with no real damage items, doesn't hurt a whole lot. To be honest, he might have lived, but with his BKB down, it still would have been a bit of a pickle for Vici Gaming. So, I mean, it's a game right now where any mistakes Vici Gaming make, I just don't know how much they matter, considering that this game kind of fell apart for them in the laning stage. That's really where, if you're Vici Gaming and after this game ends, they probably go on to lose it. That's where you go back, you look at the film, and you say, let's start with the tri-lane. Let's start with ZSMJ getting caught out early. Let's start with Lautrec leaving the lane to check a rune and our team not being on the same page. That's where you have to begin. But you're right. I mean, there are probably things you could be doing differently now. I just feel like for Vici Gaming, this is kind of garbage time where they try and learn what they can. They try and get used to playing from behind and maybe grow a little bit as a team, but you don't really expect to win. This is more just putting on a good show for the fans and trying to eke out whatever you can from a very, very bad situation. They're down by 25,000 gold, 20,000 experience. IG, ultra safe. They'll wait for the Roche. This Roche has cheese. Roche number 3. And with this and a Satanic on Joe, now, I'm just going to say impossible to defend against this. Manta as well on my way up. There's no way you're killing this Hyrocopter twice. Absolutely no way.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, and also your sentiment about, you know, how it really goes down to the basic, right? For example, ZSMJ getting caught out. This is, I don't even know how many years that ZSMJ has played Dota. He's seen this scenario a billion times, and to make a mistake as a veteran, as you know, supposedly the member on the team that has the most pro game experience, to see him make a mistake like that makes me shake my head a little bit. Not
Sean
impressed.
breaks the smoke right now. They smoked all the way from Roach. Jump in. Lasso was stolen. Whole CTY way out of position. 430 fishing for a hook. Won't find it, of course. CTY goes down. Now he nails it. FY to fall. Look at the Omni Slash. YYF picks up 2. Call it 3 dead. And IG, screw the secondary set of racks. They're going for the throne. Right off the bat, Faith as well picks up a kill. The real Lasso in the house, but what does it really matter? Quan, he steals it again. He uses it again. What a player. Give him the MVP again. I don't even care how well the rest of the teams played. Chuan stole Lasso twice in one fight. Absolutely unbelievable play from IG. Like you said, it doesn't feel like Dota. It really feels like watching professional players just beat up on the kids at the playground in a game of baseball. It's just not fair watching IG. And they're playing Vici Gaming, who just got done taking down 4Love, as well as China, 2 of the best teams in China in convincing fashion. IG, they're looking good as ever, Lumi, and it's scary to think.
It is scary, and is there any team that's going to rise to the challenge to kind of face IG? I guess our next kind of big occasion to really find out is, of course, more Dota Super League games, but the G1 League LAN Final is coming up soon, and we have Alliance going there, we have Team Liquid going there. Any of these teams going to kind of knock IG down a bit?
I have my hopes, but then there's the reality of IG, and well, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll see how much IG is able to prepare if those teams have pocket strategies. I know that at least a few of them are watching. Korok in particular was tweeting about the match, so excited to see what they bring to the table. But boy, oh boy, they've got a tall order ahead of them, and they're going to be playing on enemy turf. We'll see what they can do. I'm really looking forward to those G1 LAN finals. They come up soon, but for now, it's all about the Dota 2 Super League. We have another best of 3 coming up a little bit later this evening, guys, but for now, we're done with Vici Gaming versus IG. IG take it in a clean 2-0 sweep. I'm LD. He's Luminous. If you enjoy our casting, be sure to follow us, twitter.com/LDDota for me. And of course, the lovely Luminous is twitter.com/LuminousInverse. With that being said, guys, stay tuned. We'll be back a bit later with our second best of 3 of the evening. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you in a few.